Good evening, everybody, all my friends and our dear juniors. I welcome you all to the third session of our monthly mentoring webinars. We also have our very own ADS sir here. We are delighted to have him with us. Thank you, sir, for joining. As you all know, we have already had 2 sessions earlier where the speakers gave you insights on how you can move ahead wherever you desire to after completing your degree in civil engineering. They spoke on on how civil engineering does not stop you from flying in the open sky and go wherever you wish to. Today's session will tell you how civil engineering helps you fly higher and higher to reach great heights. Our speaker for today's session is our very dear friend, Debargho Dotto, who graduated from JU in 2000, and after working in the civil industry for 6 years in the highway engineering consultancy, he went to the US to pursue his MS in civil engineering with a specialization in transportation engineering, where he was engaged in extensive research work on pavement management system. Debargho, or Didi as we call him, returned to India post-MS to continue his consultancy job, and he has extensive experience in highway and airport engineering consultancy. He has rich experience in highway and airfield geometric design and pavement design. He has been involved in many landmark highway and airport projects as project manager, team lead, and design manager. He comes with a vast experience of 24 years, during which he has been associated with companies like CES, URS Scott Wilson, AECOM, Royal Haskoning, and L&T. Currently, he is a technical director in AECOM and is leading the airside and landside design team of aviation vertical of AECOM India. Welcome, Debargho. We'll shortly hand over the session to you. Just to remind you the rules for our webinar, once again, as we all know, please keep your audio muted and keep your questions ready in the chat box. It will be answered after the session is completed. You can also send your queries and your feedback to our email ID, that is jubcey2k@gmail.com. It is also mentioned on the slide. Please take a note of it. You can always share your needs. If you have any further feedback, you want to know something more, you want our webinars to help you in some other areas, you can always share your feedback at this email ID. So thank you all of you for joining. Debargho, over to you.
Thank you, Meenakshi, for this nice introduction. So today in this session, am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So today in these sessions, basically I'll be discussing with you all what are the opportunities available for civil engineers, and what do we do in the design consultancy of highway projects and airport projects, so that you can get a little bit of insight into what exactly we do. And I'll just showcase some of the typical layouts of airport infrastructure, and I'll also discuss how important is the knowledge of your survey and investigation. Sometimes it is looked down upon after you graduate. Many people say that it is not of any use, but it is of a use. I'll discuss that, and I'll also mention like what are the companies available in India who are currently working in the civil design consultancy, be it a domestic or global design, and the other construction companies that are available in India where you can pursue your future work. And then thereafter, I'll take some question and answer. We will have a question and answer sessions, and I'll give some information after that. So going into the opportunities for civil engineers, I hope you all have heard about PM Gati Shakti that has been introduced by the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It is basically a national master plan for multimodal connectivity, which aims to make India a $5 trillion economy by 2026-27. And it aims to create a world-class infrastructure in the country. And it actually comprise of the 7 engines that is railways, roads, ports, waterways, air transport, airports, mass transport, and logistic infrastructure. So there is a huge job potential and entrepreneurial potential for the young engineers, and certainly especially the civil engineers, because the list that you are seeing over here, all the 7 engines, that they cannot be built without any civil engineer. That is absolutely a certain. And there is a huge investment that has been planned, 100 lakh crore. So obviously over the next couple of years, or maybe 5 years down the line, there's a huge potential of civil engineers. So now going back to like what do we do in the highway design consultancy, I'll just discuss on both the highways and the airports, as I have got an experience in that both these fields. So like for planning, when we do, there are certain components of the highway and the airport design. Like in the planning stage for highway, what we do, we actually do the existing traffic study and traffic projections. I think in your transportation subject, you will study these traffic chapters, and how do the all the traffic study that we do, and the alignment option study of any roads, how the alignments are fixed in any road project, what are the, how the roads needs to be widened, how the intersections need to be designed, whether they will be at grade or any grade separation by making any flyovers and all are required or not. That we actually focus, that we actually plan during the planning stage. While in airports, the planning actually involves like we study the passenger traffic, like because the airports are served by the passengers. So what is the existing passenger traffic? We study that. Then we do this passenger traffic projection, and based on the traffic projection, the air traffic is projected, and also the vehicular traffics are projected. And then in the planning stage, the master plan is prepared for the entire airport, how it is to be planned over the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever that period is. And then we plan the aircraft stand planning, how many stands are required for the aircrafts, and what should be for any greenfield, for any new airports, how the runway should be oriented, what should be its length, because it also depends on the type of aircraft that will land on that particular airport. And the taxiway requirement, what is taxiway, runway, aircraft, I'll discuss in the subsequent slide little bit, just to give you an overview. Regarding the alignment part, we'll discuss on, we generally keep the alignment of highway, say expressways and urban roads, because they are all different in nature. When they pass through any particular land parcel, so you need to fix the alignment accordingly. There are some design standards that we follow. For airports, it is the alignment of the runway, the taxiway, and the apron stands that are important. Aircraft stands are also called apron. We also do the geometric design. Geometric design comprise of two parts. It's horizontal geometry and the vertical geometry. Horizontal and the vertical geometry of highway, expressways again in rural, whether it is in rural or in urban, they have got different standards, defined standards. While in airport, the geometric design encompasses like the airport master grading, like what should be the levels, how should we grade all the entire airport. It's a very big area, like it ranges to like 3,000 to 5,000 acres of land. Like IG Airport is built on a 5,000 acres of land. So entire area needs to be graded. Like when I say grading, you means it needs to, all the levels have to be fixed for what should be the level of the runway, what should be the level of the taxiway, how the level should of the apron or the stand should be designed, how the level, because all these levels are also connected with your terminal building levels, and also the other side of the terminal building where the roads are there, the approach roads are there. So all the levels are interlinked. So the airport master grading we do. Based on this master grading, then the geometry is also done. Then the taxiway designs are done. The taxiway fillets by mean like the curves, like when a road or a taxiway merges with another taxiway or another runway. So how the turning has to be done, how the turning needs to be designed. So that is called the taxiway fillet. Then the apron grading, apron geometry, we also design it. Then the airside part is and the landside roads, airside and the landside roads, because in the in the airfield there are roads, there are perimeter roads, there are fire movement roads, and by landside roads, what we mean is the access roads by which you travel from the city towards the airport, towards the terminal building. That is called the landside roads. Now, pavement is a very important component of any highway and airport project, because that actually takes about like 30 to 40% of the total project cost. So road pavements are generally designed for vehicles more than 3 tons, and they are repeated whether how they are getting repeated over a period of time, and what are their damaging effect on the over the design period. That is how pavement of in a highway is designed. While in airport it's a bit different, because like the load of the weight of an aircraft is quite huge. It ranges from like maybe 100 ton to 500 tons of the total weight, and it is designed for the maximum gross takeoff weight. When the aircraft is taking off, that is when it is mostly loaded, because it has got its the fuel tank is full in that case, in that particular. So that is why it is designed for this maximum gross takeoff weight. And the different mix of the aircrafts, like different aircrafts have different weights, maximum gross takeoff weight, and their landing gear configuration, like the wheels, how they are positioned. So how many wheels are there in each of the landing gears, because the more the wheels are there, their damaging effect will be less. So that is how they are designed, and also they are repetitive nature over the design period, which is generally 20 years. How many times any particular aircraft will take off from that particular runway or taxiway or apron. That is how it is designed. Drainage is a very important component in India. It is very unfortunate that designers, or maybe like even the government, neglect quite a lot in this particular aspect. But of late you have seen like a lot of flooding is happening over the period. That is because previously drainage was a neglected part, I would say. But these days people are giving more importance to drainage, because the climate change is also having a very important effect on this part. So roadside drainage, be it a rural or urban drainage, they are absolutely different. In rural, you do not bother that much in a road. You just put a side drain, just an earthen drain that can flow, and that can be connected to the nearest stream. But in urban, it is a very important component, because you need to ensure that it is the road should not be flooded, and also the neighborhood, the neighboring facilities, be it any settlements or any offices or anything, that should not be flooded. So that has to be designed accordingly, and also it is designed for a particular return period. I'm pretty sure in your irrigation and your water resource classes, you must have done this analysis of how to estimate the return period. And for airports, airport is also a very vital thing, and it is never neglected. In airport design, each and every component is meticulously designed, and each and every component should follow the recommended guidelines. There cannot be any deviation. It is very stringent in airport. Like in airport drainage, it includes the roof drainage of the passenger terminal, the apron drainage, the runway drainage, the taxiway drainage, and also in the apron drainage, because the aircrafts are parked, and they are also the fueling happens. So many a times there is a leakage also, right? So it has to be ensured that none of this water laden with the oil should flow to the nearest stream. So that is why for apron drainage, an oil water separator is a mandatory thing as per the guidelines. I'll give you just a brief on what is oil water separator, just to give you an overview of how these interesting things are. I think it is these components, each and every component of airport is very interesting. Now, structure is also a part of both the highways and the airports. In structures, if I say about highway, what are the structures that are there that we design? Like in highway, we have the elevated roads, which we call as a viaduct. We have flyovers, we have railway over or under bridge, we have underpass, we have tunnels also, like city tunnels. Like these days, because there are now the space is getting limited day by day, so only space left is below the ground. So a lot of tunnels are going to come. Like here in Delhi, I was privileged to be the design manager of a very first of its kind of a road tunnel of 5 kilometers long. That is the longest urban tunnel project that we have done. That too, it's a 8-lane tunnel that has been designed on a very busy road. The construction of it is almost complete. Almost 85 to 90% has been done. It's a part of the Dwarka Expressway project. So this type of tunnels you will see more in the coming days in other cities as well. Now there are river crossing, major bridge and the minor bridge, culverts are there, retaining wall is there, MSE wall, what was called the mechanically stabilized earth wall, or we wall here it is commonly known as the reinforced earth RE wall. In airport also there are a lot of structures that we design. Like basically the main component of the airport is the passenger terminal building. It's a huge building. It's a huge building. The entire airport is basically one, you can say it's a one city by itself. It has everything you can think of. The passenger terminal building, the elevated, there are elevated roads in on the land side, like if you like in Calcutta, in Calcutta airport, when you come from the main road, you before you enter the terminal building, you need to pass through an elevated road, right? And there is a cross taxiway bridge. I was also privileged to be part of this project, the first cross taxiway bridge in India, that is built in this IG airport, Indira Gandhi International Airport. This is called, there's a dual taxiway bridge, first of its kind in India. There are many in the other countries as well, like in Changi, in Singapore, or in the Frankfurt, or in Chicago. There are a lot, but in India, this is the first one, first of its kind. There are culverts, obviously, for airports, because there will be a lot of drains crossing the taxiways and the roads. The perimeter wall, that is also a very vital component as a part of the security elements in an airport. Retaining wall may be there, MSC wall may be there, bomb cooling pit, detention tank, oil water separating tank. These are all huge structures that needs to be designed for any airport. Ancillary buildings, like a lot of small buildings are also need to be constructed in an airport. Like it may be like some electrical buildings, which is called like for the airfield ground lighting systems. All these buildings are required. And you have watchtower, some utility tunnels, like a lot of utilities. Utilities are very, very vital in any airport. As I said, like airport by itself it's a city by itself. It has everything. You need to have air conditioning, you need to have a lot of power, you need to have water supply, you need to have sewer, everything, and they are huge. And they also need to cross this very important infrastructure, all these important infrastructure, like this apron, this taxiway, runway. They need to cross all these infrastructure. So they can be crossed either by a tunnel or by maybe by drilling or something. So these are very important components of any airport infrastructure, where the structural design is where the structural designs are required. Now, what codes and guidelines we follow for highways? The Bible is basically the Indian Road Congress manuals and guidelines. We follow them religiously. We have MOTA specifications which are followed for construction. We follow Indian standard codes basically for buildings, for building part. And ASHTO we follow sometimes. And we have these DMRB, OSTROADS. These are also required for your knowledge. We do not follow generally in Indian projects, but yes, if you want to work in any foreign projects, or if you want to go abroad, the knowledge of these codes are very much essential. And even if you do not go abroad, if you want to work in India itself, but knowledge of these guidelines will definitely help you. For airport, the Bible is this DGCA card, that is the Director General of Civil Aviation Requirements. This is the regulatory body which oversee all the components of an airport. Until unless they clear any particular component of the airport, the airport cannot make anything operationalized. So this is absolutely mandatory to follow the guidelines. You cannot deviate a little bit, otherwise it will be a non-compliant. That's why I said each and every component of an airport is very, very important, and you cannot deviate. There is an ICAO guidelines, which is International Civil Aviation Organization guidelines. Actually, DGCA card is nothing but an exact copy of ICAO guidelines, except that in some part there is a difference between shall and should. Like something they have mentioned in ICAO as should. That means you may follow or you may not follow. It is up to the discretionary of the operator or the developer or the engineer. But sometimes DGCA wants that to be mandatory, so they have mentioned as shall be required. Okay, so this some subtle differences are there between the DGCA car guidelines and ICAO guidelines. So whenever you read any code and guidelines, you should be very much clear of what you are reading. You should be very clear whether it's a shall or whether it should. There is another Federal Aviation Administration guideline, FAA advisory circulars are there. This is basically US. This is meant for US. But sometimes when nothing is mentioned on DGCA car or ICAO, we follow these FAA guidelines. There is NFPA guidelines, which is the National Fire Protection Association guidelines. There is also a National Building Code, NBC, which is mainly followed for the terminal buildings, passenger terminal buildings. Now, you must be very much eager to know what are the softwares that we use in any design consultancy. There are multiple softwares are used in different subjects, like the geometric design. In geometric design, the softwares that are used in currently in India is Open Roads by Bentley Systems, by Open Roads Designer. We use sometimes Civil 3D, which is of AutoCAD, Autodesk, and there is a 12D. This is not much of a use in India, but sometimes the airport field, airport design, we use 12D. This is basically an Australian software. For pavement design, for the roads, we use IIT Pave, IIT Rigid, and KGP BAC. This has been prepared by IIT Kharagpur. And for airport, we use Farfield, BACFA. Now, this Farfield, BACFA, IIT Pave, IIT Rigid, they are all free softwares. I mean, you can Farfield, BACFA, they are absolutely free. If you want to learn, you can just Google it, then download it, install it, and you can learn it. It's very easy. Just follow the guidelines, go through the manuals, try to understand the principles behind the pavement design, and follow it. You have in this Farfield and BACFA, they have got the library of aircrafts. Or each and every aircraft you can think of, they have all the landing gear composition. They have the maximum takeoff weights. So you just need to plug in the values, and you need to run the softwares. But it is not only running the softwares. You need to understand what is going behind. Never use a software just as a black box. You need to understand why the result is coming like that. Because I have seen in my entire career, like most of the people, they do not know what they're running. Like they use the software. If you ask them, do you know how to run the software? Do you have the knowledge of this to run the software? They will say yes, absolutely. But if you ask them why this result is coming like that, you need to understand whether the result is coming right or wrong. But if you are putting if your input is wrong, then obviously your output will also be wrong. So you need to understand that whether the result that you are getting from the software is right or wrong. So you can understand that only when you have the good understanding of the basic principles of any design. So be very clear about your understanding. Your basics should be very, very clear, and your common sense. Along with that, you need to have your common sense sharp. Because I have seen many people, like they design a lot of things, but they keep the common sense aside. Because sometimes you need to present it to client, and client may not be a technical person. Like many a times we present our design to ministry, and where they are all the meetings are chaired by the IS officers. Now most of the IS officers, they are not engineers. They actually run everything by their common sense and their sharp intelligence. So they will grill you like anything. So you need to sharpen your skill. You need to have the basic common sense, whether what you are telling, what you are suggesting makes sense or not. You need to design, you need to propose anything, putting yourself in the user's shoes. How will you think as an user, whether that is logical, whether that is feasible. You just cannot just design, get an output from a software and just deliver. No, you need to assess yourself also first. So for simulation, there are multiple simulations we do for airports. Like we use AVPlan Pro. I'll show some screenshot. What do we do in AVPlan Pro? We use the Autodesk vehicle turning to carry out the design to do some simulation for road design. We have this PTV Vissim and Fusum. This is basically used for this transportation planning. For structures, you must be aware of StatPro. Is a very popular software in India, and this Midas is also used. Midas is also used along with the Sophistic, Oasis, Revit. Revit is basically used in BIM modeling. Now these days, everything is done in BIM. BIM is basically building information modeling. Like you can see a three-dimensional view of your design, be it a structure, be it a road, be it anything, and you can do the clash analysis. We do a clash analysis, like you are doing a building design, right? And in a building, there are huge multiple like MEPs there, like mechanical engineering and the plumbing components. Like you will have water pipelines, you will have sewer, you will have lighting, you will have electrical lines, conduits running here and there. So no one should clash. So we do this clash detection. Now again, like you are putting, say, a false ceiling, whether the depth of your false ceiling is right or wrong, whether all the facilities, all these MEP that you want to house, whether that depth is sufficient or not. That you can do everything on the Revit. Now in geotech, these are the softwares that are being used, like Plaxis, GeoStudio, FLAC, Abacus. And in drainage, we do the drainage modeling using Seward Gems, HECRAS, HMS. HECRAS and HMS are generally used for like the sheet flow analysis of any river modeling if you want to do, or for any flood modeling you want to do. We generally use this HECRAS and HMS. So if you want to gather some knowledge, you can just Google it, try to learn it, and if possible, some student versions are also available. You can just play with it. You will be able to learn it. And for pavement, as I said, that Farfield and Backfar, they are absolutely free. You can download it and you can install in your computer and you can play with it. Other than that, what do? We also do, because this quantity estimation, rate analysis, cost estimation, this is required, right? I mean, when you do a project, at the end of the day, it has to be built. But when you do a design, your client wants to know how much will it cost me, right? For that, you need to estimate the quantities. For that, you need to analyze the rates of each of the items. Like if you are constructing a building comprises of what? Building comprises of basically concrete and steel, reinforcement, right? And it also has these finishing items. Finishing item means your doors, your windows, your lightings, everything. So you need to estimate each and quantity of each of these items. If you are designing a roads has what? Any road project, it has what? It has pavement. Pavement has different layers of pavements. Each and every layers has got a different cost, different rate, right? You have culverts. Culverts has what? Culvert has this concrete. It has got steel, basically. So you need to estimate the cost, because client, at the end of the day, client needs to know how much will it cost me. And after that, it needs to go to the tender, because it needs to be constructed. You need to hire a contractor. So we prepare the tender documents, and we issue the tender purpose drawings, based on which the contractor should understand what is their scope of what are they going to construct. The building, if you ask the contractor to build a passenger terminal building, or a runway, or a taxiway, or a road, they need to know like what is the length of the road, how the road is aligned, what are the challenges. So they need to study the drawings. So that's why we issue the tender purpose drawings. And post tender, once the contractor is awarded the job, they need to get the drawings based on which they will construct, which we call as a good for construction drawings. They are very, very much detailed drawings. And once the construction is complete, the as-built drawings are required, because after like 3-4 years down the line, once the construction is completed, if one needs to know like what is constructed, so they can refer the as-built drawings. Sometimes the good for construction drawings and as-built drawings are same, but sometimes they are different, because during the construction time, some challenges may come over in the site. So for some reason, the design has had to be changed. You need to change the design. So if the design gets changed, so obviously the as-built condition also gets revised. So the as-built drawings will differ from the good for construction drawings. So this is what we do in the design consultancy. So what are the other potential areas in this design? Like as I said, like as Meenakshi mentioned, like I did extensive research on pavement management system. It is very, very close to my heart. I love this subject, but unfortunately, I couldn't work in this field in India, because unfortunately, people in our country is very much ignorant about this particular subject and the huge potential it has. It actually helps. It actually will help people to understand how your system is behaving, how the pavement is behaving. It is pavement as a management system. It is similar to your asset management system. It is applicable to all. How your asset or pavement per se is deteriorating over a period of time. How the periodic maintenance has to be done. How you can save money. You have got 10,000 rupees in your pocket. How will you optimize your investment? How can you maximize the benefit of your investment? That can be done in this pavement management system. Unfortunately, India has got a huge database, but unfortunately they are all going to drain. and no one is using that data for this pavement management system. I don't know when it is going to come. I have worked this in US for Ohio Department of Transportation. We developed this system, and we used to analyze 22 years of 46,000 lane miles of data. We had this data for every year, 46,000 lane miles. Which particular road was constructed when, from which quarry the aggregate came, how are they behaving, when it should be, which part of the of any particular road needs to be maintained, at what time we can predict, right? And if you ask me, like, okay, they have got $100, so which particular section they need to maintain this year, that we can do, that we can analyze with this using this pavement management system. Now, artificial intelligence, as you know, this is the word of these of the day, and it is like very much in vogue. So artificial intelligence in design, it's already in use in civil engineering. Like a lot of predictive modeling is there. During my pursuit of this master's program, I took one course in artificial intelligence, and where I learned this neural network, fuzzy logic, then a lot of algorithms like genetic algorithm. So these are all basically part of this artificial intelligence. And I did some modeling. I did some prediction modeling for this pavement deterioration system. And this artificial intelligence, you can they are being used currently in intelligent transportation system. They are used in currently in design optimization, project planning, construction management, a lot. I mean, it's a huge potential. If you want to learn artificial intelligence, you should learn and try to implement it in the design, and it will generally, obviously, it will increase the productivity of your work, and it will come as an added advantage to you if you go for any job. Now, as I said, like, I just want to give you an overview of how an airport or how an airport looks like. So the airport, as I said, like, it comprises of what? It comprises of a runway, taxiways, then the apron, which is nothing but the aircraft stands, they're called. Then you have the terminal buildings, the hangars, the maintenance part. So these are basically the typical airport infrastructure that we have. And in a runway is basically a 45-meter wide with a 7.5 meters on either side. That is the main. This is just a typical cross section of runway that I want to show you. This is just an overview. If you want to talk on all these components, it will take hours. So I just want to give you a brief on this part. Now, as I said, like, we do the grading plan, the levels. Like on the line on the left hand side, it is just a heat map. Heat map means, like, how are the levels of an existing. This is one of the project that we did in Visakhapatnam. There is one greenfield airport that is coming up, Bhogapuram, where it is basically near to the Bay of Bengal. The Bay of Bengal is almost like about 400 to 500 meters from this airport, and it was to be built on a hilly region, basically. So there were a lot of hills were there. If you see this red marks, it is a hill area, and the green mark, it is a flat area. So we had to do the cutting and filling. How do we grade it so that you can balance the cut and fill? That is a very important part of a design. The grading, you need to balance your cut and fill, right? Whatever you cut, you fill it in some other areas, so that you can use all your cut and fill. You do not have anything in excess. You do not have to borrow earth for fill, or you need to dump your cut quantities. So that's how we do the grading. Now we do aircraft simulation. As I said, like, we use AVPlan Pro to do the aircraft simulation. So this is one project that we are doing currently in Trivandrum Airport. So for the aircraft stands, each of the aircrafts will have different turning angles. They have got different gear arrangement, because of which their turning is different. So we need to do all these analysis. We need to simulate the entire of all these things using different aircraft from the aircraft library. And we do the jet blast analysis, like when an aircraft starts from the apron, when it taxis, it actually there's a jet blast happening at the back. So that should not affect the other aircrafts which is which is in their neighborhood, or other any components, like be it any aircraft or any part, like it may be a light pole also, it should not hit that. Even if there is a if the jet blast is affecting any boundary wall, that also should not affect. So we need to design accordingly. The drainage, as I say, that drainage is a very important component of all the highway and the airport projects. As I said, like as I mentioned, apron drainage is very important because refueling is done on the apron only. So there are oil leakages that happens. So whenever the rain, if there is any storm event, if any rain happens, so obviously the rainwater will be laden with the oil. So that oil should not go to the outfall. Outfall means to any stream, because there is a pollution control board guideline is there. So no water should no oil should come to the mainstream. So these oil needs to be separated. So this is basically separated with the gravitation by installing a oil water separating tank. So this is a mandatory thing. Now survey and investigation is a necessity. I mean, basic understanding of survey and investigation, it helps you to understand. You do not have to do the survey these days on your own. You will have the data, but you need to understand whether your data is right or wrong. Right? If it is wrong, then you can identify where the things went wrong. So that for that reason, you need to understand how the topographic survey is done, how a soil investigation is done, how a classified or traffic volume count survey is done. So you need to have a very, very basic idea of all these survey and investigations. Other investigations that are used in the industry, and I'm pretty sure these are not included in your current curriculum, is this ground penetrating radar survey, or we call it GPR survey. This is basically used in the detection of underground utilities. Whenever we build any infrastructure, we need to know whether any utilities are there or not. By utilities, I mean any electric cables, telephone lines, OFC cables, or any water pipeline or any sewer pipeline. You need to know. You cannot just dug, right? So we do this. These are all non-destructive testing to identify the underground utilities, and it is also used as a non-destructive test to identify the thicknesses of different pavement layers. And we use this falling weight deflectometer survey to estimate the layer properties of different pavement layers. We also do the pavement investigation, pit investigation, and the core test. These are destructive tests, obviously, to know what are the pavement layers, what are the soil properties of the subgrade. So we estimate based on these investigations. Now you must be very eager to know what are the companies that are currently available in India. Like the civil engineering design consultancy job, it comprises of two particular type of design that happens over in this country. One is the domestic design, like the projects that we do in India. So these are the companies, these are the domestic design consultant companies like AECOM, Sistra, Assistance to Louis Berger, which is currently named as, which has been acquired by WSP. Ramboll is there, ICT is there, Jacobs, AECOM and Jacobs are quite leading in this part. Tendon Bridge Consultant is there, Wrights is there, RV Associates, Mott MacDonald, and Consulting Engineering Group, or CEG. While the Global Design Center, these companies actually work on these global design projects. AECOM, Sistra, Assystem, again WSP, Ramboll, Arup is there, Jacobs, Atkins is there. Atkins is pioneer in this particular area, Global Design Center. They do not work on the domestic design projects. They are 100% concentrated on these on foreign projects. Royal Haskoning DHV is there, Aegis, Mott MacDonald, and Bechtel. They all do foreign projects. But my advice, my own experience, from my own experience, I can advise you that do not start your career from GDC. Never go to the GDC from the very beginning, because in GDC they do not give. You do not. You will not get a chance to do good technical job. All the donkey's job are dumped here, to be very frank to say. Okay, so yes, the life in GDC is very much comfortable. compared to the design, compared to the domestic design. But if you want to learn something, you should get yourself attached with any domestic design consultant. You should do projects in India if you want to live in India. Okay. So some of the civil construction companies that are there is L&T, Tata Projects, GR Infra, HCC, J Kumar, Sapurji Palunji, Dilip Bilcon, Gammon. They all these companies are very big. I mean, you can pursue your career in any of these companies. Nagarjuna, Afcon, Spongyloid, ITT Cementation, and Megawide Infrastructure. Megawide is basically focused in airport construction only currently. They are not doing any highway projects. But all other companies that you are seeing, they do mostly highway projects. L&T is very much, L&T and Tata Projects, they are very much into airport. L&T is pioneer in airport construction in India. Tata Projects have done some projects earlier, some small projects, but currently they are doing the one very big project they have won a couple of years ago is this Jewar International Airport, which is a greenfield airport. But other than that, L&T has built IG Airport, L&T has built Bangalore, L&T has built Hyderabad, L&T has built Chennai. So most of the major airports that you see in India, they are constructed by L&T. So that is all from my side. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Debargo. That was a wonderful session, and it was very interesting. I think it was very helpful for the juniors also. As Arindam has suggested, could you also, give the juniors an idea as to how your higher studies helped you while working in industry? That would be a good insight, because probably people think that higher studies is more for going into academics, but that it is not true. Higher studies has helped you so much in the industry. Could you just touch upon it once more?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So when you do higher studies, you basically do a lot of research, right? So when you do a lot of research, your technical know-how not only increases, your analytical skill also increases, right? So you will be able to learn to solve some very complex problems. As I said, like my focus was on pavement management system. Okay, I learned pavement management system, but I couldn't utilize that knowledge in India. But I know now when I am doing a pavement design, I know how my pavement is going to how my pavement is going to deteriorate. I have that knowledge. I have that in at the back of my mind. I know that, right? So that is how, like, even if you do like a master's degree, as Meenakshi said, you do not have to pursue a PhD, right? And sometimes I have seen that if you do a PhD in design consultancy, you will not get that much benefit. But yes, master's degree is a must if you want to pursue a design consultant. That helps. That really helps. That actually improve your the value of your CV. Sometimes your CV, all our CVs are sellable. By sellable, I means when you when you bid for any project, we need to submit the CVs. Okay, your CVs. So your CV gets valued if you have a master's degree. So that's how things happen in India. So it helps. It definitely helps if you have a master's degree. So your analytical skill improves. You have a better understanding of the subject, obviously, over the people who do not have a master's degree. Like if you want to pursue a career in transportation planning, you will have to have a master's degree. You will have to have. If you are like a pavement engineer, you will have to have a master's degree. Okay, you need to learn how the materials behave, because pavement is a very, very complex subject. Very complex subject. You need to understand how the each and every aggregates is, how the interaction of the aggregate and the bitumen is working. You do not know these things in your undergraduate, right? You have a very superficial knowledge of how the pavement behaves, right? You can only learn once you pursue a master's degree, because you will do a lot of research. You will do a lot of laboratory testing by yourself. So there are complex subjects which you can handle only once you have this master's degree.
Thank you, Debargo. There's another comment from Obro related to AI in design. He mentions that since sensors are very cheap, they are embedded extensively in structures and they record or feedback data into cloud storage as the structure is used and the asset is consumed over time. That
Exactly.
data is easily transferred into data warehouses and data lakes from where AI engines can harvest this data after harmonization and make intelligent predictions on maintenance needs or potential failure, etc. So he just wanted your thoughts and some more comments
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this.
absolutely. Thank you for Obro to touch this part. I mean, you are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. AI being used in the structural health monitoring as well as the pavement. Like in airport, as I said, like airport is a very is a secured area, and all the. I mean, if there is a lot of rutting happens in airport, okay. By rutting means there's a depression in the pavement, so health of the airport pavement is very vital now these days. Although AI has not been introduced in India, but I came to know that in some Australian airports they have installed the sensors in the runway so that they can have this data, like every second they can have the data how the pavement is behaving, whether there is any depression, whether due to the landing or the takeoff of an aircraft, how it is behaving, what is the deflection that they are having. Another instance I will say, there is a metro tunnel. There is a metro tunnel that crosses the IG airport. Okay, and it crosses an active taxiway. So there they have installed sensors to monitor how whenever an aircraft passes, how it is affecting the tunnel beneath it. There's a metro tunnel, as I said. So these things are monitored. As Obro rightly said, this is very important these days, and people are using it. Yes.
Orijita, I think, has a question or some comment.
Yeah, Arijita, please.
Sorry,
Yeah,
just one
Arijita, please
point.
give your insight.
No, just one point means for the students, I will just suggest this AI, all things are great. That's great. But this to have an actual understanding and application, you need a lot of time to understand what AI is telling you. So at your level, don't think much of that. Stick to the basics, get that experience, and then come to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, like you should not use any software or anything as a black box. I have seen people using it as a black box. They do not know what is happening behind it. They use many people use Chat Pro. They are just putting the input and getting the result, but they don't know how they are being analyzed. What is finite element method? How they are analyzed? Okay, so you need to know the basic behind it. You need to know. You need to be very thorough about all these things. As
So,
Arijita said, get your basic.
Devargo,
Yeah,
hey Devargo, Arindam here.
yeah, please. Yes.
Yeah, just to touch upon that, I think what Arindam said, I mean, absolutely. So you guys have to understand you are a civil engineering graduate. You're like some sort of basic engineering graduate, right? Whatever that is. You are not a mathematician. You are not a computer scientist. Okay? Getting a job in IT doesn't make you a computer scientist. So only way you can make your road into AI is understanding your basics in the subject. And that's where there is a lot of value. So I work with GE and all these things. So what happened is GE Oil and Gas, for example, they got a bunch of computer scientists and mathematicians to develop AI tools for oil and gas. It completely failed because they don't know, right, how a drilling happens in the ocean. So now they have changed it. Now they have put in the drilling engineers to manage all these groups. And they are is good. We are talking about AI. Just to tell you, the world is changing, but don't get this wrong assumption that just by reading some, neural network and all this thing and knowing some jargon will get you anywhere. As a civil graduate, if you know the subject, you can manage 400 AI engineers under you who will develop the tools for you. Okay, so you will give them the problem statement. So don't jump into just, I need to do AI and all this thing. Okay, I mean, you can do way more. So, but at the same time, you have to know how AI is being used, right? Otherwise, if you don't know the use cases and all that, you don't know where the world is going. So keep a balance, and it's just my thought. And also have patience in life. Study a little bit. Generally, undergrad doesn't teach you anything, to be very, very honest. Okay, I mean, if you are if you want to be in the subject matter, if you are veering out in a different field, then it is different. Okay, like Opro and all, right? They have a very different skill set. So his undergrad civil engineering doesn't matter. But suppose if you are in structural mechanics, soil mechanics, whatever it is, right? Transportation, environment, your masters and all this thing will matter. You will see. I mean, you will get capped out, very, very honestly. Unless it's a donkey job, you will not get to do anything. Okay, so be very clear about it. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think there's Ronak. He has a question. What he says is he's currently. Just a minute. Yeah. We have not read much about transportation, but many of us are interested in highway and airport design. Can you please tell us how we can contact you later? Definitely, Devarko will share. Yes.
Definitely. I have shared my phone number there. I'll just again display.
You can always get in touch at our email ID as well, our group email ID.
Yeah, you can get in touch with through our email ID also.
And
definitely get back to you.
We'll always get back to you.
Yeah.
There's another question from Devar Pon. Sir, apart from higher studies, I want to know how we can gain experience for a decent package in a reputed company.
Define reputed company. What do you mean reputed company? Company that has a reputation which you have no idea what the reputation is about. So sometimes very reputed company has very, very crappy job. Okay, that's one thing in life. And another is, so maybe you want to say, how can I get a good remuneration doing interesting job, right? I guess that's what the question should be.
Only thing is that
I don't know,
keep your basics right. Keep your basic right, and everything will fall in place.
Yes, there is no magic to get a.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a job in reputed company, but there are a lot of donkey works in a very reputed company.
Yeah. Keep your basic
they will
right.
give you that donkey job.
Keep your basic right and your communication skill sharp. That's it. Everything will fall in place.
And try to join startup. To be very honest, there are a lot of startups.
Absolutely.
They are the real reputed company. Okay?
Exactly. If you want to learn, try to join a very small company.
So
you will have hands-on experience on everything, A to Z, everything. You will have to handle the project.
A very distorted idea about reputation. Okay, when Google started, it was a reputed company. Now probably Google is not a reputed company. It's a famous company. The work they do, some department they do very cutting edge work, very interesting work. Most of the department they are just like going in and out. Join a startup, take some risk, and failure is not a failure. You will learn so much. The company may fail. If you are good, you will get another job. So yeah, try. I think aim for interesting work, not just a reputed company. And
okay, we have.
Salary as well.
Yeah. I think Orijit Da and Obro also have something to add to this. They have raised their hands. So if you could quickly...
for taking the time. Just 1 minute.
Orijit Da, please.
My experience says that it may sound a bit weird. Don't think of package in the initial years. Think of the learning, please. This is how the progression happens for the civil engineer. You have to accept it. Civil engineer starts earning after 10 years. That's it.
Okay. We have a question from Indronil. Indronil, can you elaborate? You've just mentioned that you are in a project with the help of BIM technology. What do you want to know? Could you just elaborate on your question? Indronil Bose. I don't know him. Maybe he's left. There's another question from Shubhadeep Okay, yes, Indranil, he wants to take part in highway designs. He wants to contact Debargo. Yes, Debargo has shared his number, and we have our group mail ID is also shared. You can check the chat box also. You can always get in touch. Any questions? Okay. Okay, and there's another question from Shubhodeep Kandilal. If I join a construction industry in the transportation sector after BE, can I switch from construction to design after few years of experience?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Why not? I mean, it will be rather better. I mean, a design guy should have a construction experience and vice versa. If you have a construction experience, it helps. It helps because sometimes, many a times rather, I would say like, I have seen many designers who doesn't have an iota of knowledge of how the construction happens. Okay, you design it, whether it is constructible or not, you need to see. Like, say for example, you have designed a bridge with a lot of reinforcement you have given. You have made it safe. You have put lot of reinforcement. But you need to understand also, if you once you issue the drawing to site with so many reinforcements, can the concrete pass? If you pour the concrete, can the concrete pass through those reinforcement, through those heavy reinforcement? That you need to understand. You can only understand once you have a construction experience. So construction experience definitely helps a designer.
Okay, Debargo, your number, I think they are missing out. Many people want to know your number. Once again, if you could share.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Abhishek Kumar has also raised his hand, so probably he also has some questions.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to ask one question. Basically, I want to highlight issue which is happening in our country. I'm sure our respected sir have known about Atal Setu, which is India's largest sea bridge, which connects South Mumbai to Navi Mumbai.
Yeah.
And it has been constructed more than 1700 crore. And after inauguration by our honorable Prime Minister, there was crack in the pavement. And another news from the IGI Terminal 1, there was also a pillar collapsed during the monsoon season. And these are not only the two issues. This is happening across the country. If we talk about the bridge collapsing, So why these are things happening, and who is responsible for this?
Yeah. I'll answer that, Abhishek. I'll answer the Terminal 1 part first. I mean, yes, there is a common perception, or as a common man, what you are, the newspaper is right. It was the roof collapsed, but the design, there is not even a fault in the design. First of all, that roof was constructed in the year 2007-2008. Now the roof generally is designed for a stormwater load of around 50 ton per square meter, something around that. No, I'm sorry. It's about like 50 kg per square meter. Okay. Now there was a blockage in the roof water downtake pipe. Because of that, the water could not pass through those downtake pipes, and the water started to build up on the roof. Now the roof that was designed for 50 kg per square meter was subjected to a load of 1 ton per square meter. Now how will it stand? Secondly, because of the cladding in the roof, there was a maintenance lapse. There was a fault in the pin joint. There was a rusting in the pin joint, which was overlooked. Because of that, again, it aggravated the situation and the roof collapsed. Okay. So it was not a design fault at all. The design was perfectly fine. Design was as per the guidelines. But no one anticipated that the roof will have a 1 ton per square meter of water load. It is generally not designed for that. It is not at all economical. Something you need to understand as an engineer. Many a times a flooding happens in the road. Like people do blame the engineers. Arey, ye design hua nahi hai, this has not been designed, ye corruption hai. Yes, there is a corruption, but there is also a guideline which has been followed. We design the urban roads or any drainage for 5-year return period. That means, the maximum rainfall, if you take 50 years of rainfall data, you analyze it statistically and you see in which 5 year you got the highest rainfall. Okay. Now based on that we design it. Now sometimes it happens that, or rather most of the times, because of the climate change, the intensity of rainfall that we get is much higher than the design intensity. Then what will you do? Will it stand? Will it stand whatever you have designed? No, not at all. Flooding will definitely happen. So you need to understand this part also as a designer. Yes, common people will say whatever you like, but you are a designer. You need to understand the basic things, why it has been, how it has been designed, why it has been designed. Now you have mentioned the Atal Setu pavement design. Now one of my very close friends, Som Subroda, who is also classmate of Arijit Da, he was a project manager. He led that Atal Setu project from Ecom. That pavement failed because of what? Because of the slope. Because of the slope failure. The slope was not designed properly. It was not a pavement failure. It was a slope failure. It was on a high embankment. It was on a high embankment, and the slope, that was the design slope, was around, if I am not wrong, it was designed for 1:2 slope, one vertical to 2 horizontal. But because of some land constraint, the slope was more steep, and there was some compaction issue as well to the slope. So it was a slope failure because of the heavy rainfall. That's why that pavement failed.
Is it fine? Okay. Okay. I think Orindam wants to add something. He has.
Yeah, Arindam.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Finally, I found out raising the hand. So, Devargo, I have one request. So maybe if we can ask for 1 or 2 student volunteer, and then we can also look. I mean, we will contribute to it. Can we create like a database where we can create a matrix of different skill sets and career choices, and then who is the contact person. So maybe they can just go, and there can be a very simple, like a drop down menu sort of thing, right? And then they see this can be the person I can contact from the senior. Can we start doing that? And I think we need some student volunteers as well, because
yes, I think this is
help
something.
us, right?
Yeah, right. Correct. And this is something I think the students can also discuss with ADS sir, because he also spoke to us about things on the similar lines. Because if the skill sets are mapped, students can contact them, and even your major projects, you can have some guide from the industry to help you in your major projects. So that way, if you could help us, if you could volunteer to come up with such kind of a database where we could provide the data for our skill set mapped details of the seniors, it would help you all also. But we'll definitely need volunteers from the students.
Yeah, can maybe Ognivo, I know you were mentioning, I don't know if he's there, he was mentioning something about like they are also looking into that database. So can a couple of you volunteer? Can you just message here if you are interested? And it will be a good experience for you guys as well, okay? Because even in your professional life, you need to match people with skill. So you will know how it's done.
I think Ronak is mentioning that something on the line is already in progress. Database creation is being currently discussed among the current student batches. That is excellent.
That is excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
Please do share this database with us.
Yes. Soham is also interested. Soham, thank you very much. Please get in touch with us, and we can definitely work on this.
Yeah, we can meet separately, and then we can start conversing. And if other students wants to join, that will be very good. I think it will greatly help even student and us, because we also many times look for good students, right? Like people who are passionate and all this. It's better
We
to
also
know you
have
guys.
some students from Bardhaman University as well who have joined in. Oh, I didn't know. Welcome all of you, and thank you so much for joining. You could also do the same thing from your side as well. Okay, we can also you can get in touch with us anytime. We will definitely help you all also. We have many people who are interested. Please contact us on our email ID or the phone number given. Abhishek, Indranil, Priyesh, Ronak. Thank you so much. Ronak will be informing us about all this. Shoro Dipto. Excellent to see so many people interested.
And,
Also, please note another phone number Arijitda has shared. Anyone who needs support in highway design, please note his phone number. He has mentioned it in the chat, 900-715-3674. Please note down. He is the 98 JU Civil batch.
Just to give the introduction of Arijitda. Arijitda is leading the eastern region of Sistra Consulting. He's currently based in Kolkata. He's a very I would say, like, I have been working with Arijitda for the last 15-20 years now. So he's very knowledgeable in this particular field. You can get in touch with him anytime. He's always there.
All of you who have next, yes, there is a Google form which has been where interests of current students are being noted. Currently restricted in your batch only, but okay, please share with other batches as well. Rona, that is a good thing. That will help us also. And please get in touch with the email ID that we have shared. All of you who have mentioned that you are interested, please drop a one-liner mail. It would be easy for us to keep in touch with you. Okay, we'll get in touch with you shortly.
Yeah. So this is our email ID. I think my screen is visible, right?
Can you post the email ID here, Devargo? Just
I think I have already done it. The chat,
okay.
I have already posted it.
So as we have decided, like, we will have this type of webinar session every month. So next webinar session will be scheduled in October, and the topic and the name of the presenter we will be sharing with you once it is decided, and we'll share it along with the Google Meeting link. So hope we will be joining, and I think it will be beneficial to you only.
You can also, share your area of interest if you want any specific area on which a webinar would be helpful for you. Please do share that.
Please drop a mail.
Please do mail us. We'll definitely arrange one on those lines whenever you want to. Okay?
And
that would be very helpful.
Yes. One comment from my side. So I'm very glad to hear that some other university has joined. So just to make sure, like, we love Jadavpur University, but this is for anyone who is.
Yes, it's for anyone.
I think so. We should thank Aparna.
Thanks, Aparna, really.
So, and also as students, right? You have friends who are in different engineering colleges and all, right? Please spread the word, and I'm pretty sure you guys are active on social media more than us, hopefully. So
everybody is
please
welcome.
share our links. Our video. I think there is a YouTube channel and all. If you can kindly share, then only we can reach out to more and more students.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So please help us out, because we will get capped, right, with our contacts and all. So you guys, please. This has nothing to do with. It's not restricted to Jadavpur University. We had to start somewhere.
We want to reach
for anybody.
Yeah. We want to reach the young civil engineers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We start with you, definitely, because you are closer to our heart, but then we extend it to all.
Yes.
Yes?
Because at the end of the day, I have been in the industry along with Arijitda for the last 20-25 years now. So there is really a dearth of very good civil engineers. I must say that. I must admit that. Because most of the civil engineers, most of the talented civil engineers or civil engineers with high acumen, they have moved to softwares or in other fields. So the industry needs very good civil engineers. Okay.
Right.
Opro should return back.
So what is? Learn civil engineering, love civil engineering, and please get in touch with us whenever you want to.
Don't bother about the initial salary. You will as I think Arijitda said, like, after you will see a
lifetime earning. Your lifetime earning may potentially be higher, if not, at least equal.
Yes,
so don't worry about it. And when you are in your 20s, your post is not very high.
Yeah, just one comment. I think somebody asked the question around the package thing, right? Without going for masters, it's quite okay for you to choose not to go for masters. But then, based on our collective experience, we can now comfortably say, I hope that Arindam Devargo might agree with me, that the central government jobs, that you can get through UPSC, those are perhaps the best or better jobs in civil engineering industry, where you have respect, where you have a very strong salary package from the central government. So just with an undergraduate, if you end up in EIL, Engineers India Limited, or MECON, or one of our very dear friends, Sujata, she works in a Maharatna, which is power grid. She's a steel or structural engineer, right? Fixing all those huge towers that you see on when you make your rail trips. No, so you don't have to get into a master's or a PhD or an MBA. Nothing. You can still get very good jobs, but try the CPWT jobs, India PSC or Maharatnas or the Navratna type companies like Steel Authority or ON. I mean, we now feel, many of us feel, including me, I feel that had we got that good guidance, perhaps I would have stuck to civil engineering and been part of a central government establishment. Just a thought.
Actually, yeah, Obro, just to add on to that, I completely agree. So the comment I think what Devargo and I made, it's in a certain context. Okay, so first try to figure out what do you like to do, and also hopefully this kind of webinars are exposing you to different pathways. Once you see that this is the pathway I want to take, then yes, that is like doing masters or PhD is in a particular context. I mean, you just have to love the subject. That is different, right? That has to be there. So we are also planning to touch upon the government services and all. So we will have another webinar on that. But all these things that we are saying, there is a personal bias, right? Like Devargo can only be passionate about transportation because that's what he is living day in and day out, right? I can be passionate about what I'm doing. So we are bringing all our friends who are doing different things, right? So you guys at this point should not bias yourself. Just listen to us, and then something that will pique your interest. Then whatever you need to do the best for it, do it. That should be the route. Okay. Don't just go by what your friend is trying to do. See all the options, and then find out what is your calling. That is, I think, the most important thing. So yeah, bro, I agree with you absolutely. Yeah, depending on the context, you really don't need masters and all. Okay.
Yeah, it is actually what Orijit also adds to it. IES is also another option which people can think of.
Yeah, right.
And it's a very tough exam, so
Very
you
tough
have to be
exam.
very, very well prepared.
Yeah, and very
Okay.
respected one. I mean, if you can crack it, you will be in a very respectable position.
Correct. Okay, Indranil has a question. Is it right to say that someone can get a good package if he has worked on big projects and achieved good certifications, like from Autodesk?
Not necessarily.
Not
Necessarily. Only certification doesn't help. Okay, it gives you it can give you an edge, but at the end of the day, you need to deliver, right? You need to.
Can I be frank with you guys? Package is what, right? What is a package from a company? Company uses your labor, mental, physical, whatever, right? And then they earn money. They give you a small percentage of it. You can be the best Autodesk engineer in the world, I mean, designer or whatever in the world, but Autodesk is not a big deal. You are not going to earn a lot of money for the company just becoming an expert in Autodesk. So you have to understand, you need to have certain skill set that is bringing a lot of money to the company, and then they will give you a portion of that. It's as simple as that. So all this certification and all these things is good, but there will be 1,000 other people having this certification, so you are going to be average. Okay, and all these certifications also, nobody cares about this certification. I mean, there are some processes and all in place in companies, so they say, oh, you have to have a certification. People care about your understanding, people care about your analytical skill, people care about your communication skill and your leadership skill. If you can develop those, you don't really need a certificate, and you can earn a lot of money for the company, then your package will go up. There is no magic in having a good package. Okay, so right now focus on developing your basic skills and learning the basics. So then the package will follow. I think Obro is in more management consulting. He can tell more. I mean, he has probably seen very, very high level people who have absolutely zero certification in their life, but they may be running multi-billion-dollar companies. Okay. So their remuneration is very high because they are earning very high for the company. And then you get part of it. So there is no legal rule that if you have 5 certificates, then this is your salary. Okay. It's all economics. Hopefully I answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, if there are no more questions, then we'll wrap up today's session.
Okay.
Yeah, I think yes, we could wrap up.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all of you.
We see you again in the next webinar.
Yes, and we'll wait for your mail, feedback, as well as who all are, interested in the database formation of alumni. Raunak is also going to update us, as he said. So we'll wait for those updates as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you
Vinay.
so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.